something crosses the road. It's skeletal like, fleshy, and it stands up, and then it like kind of just almost like leaps.
They look back and they see one. Clear as day. It walked 5 feet away from my audio recorder. We just saw a Bigfoot. Holy crap.
I've been pinched, I've been tapped on the shoulder, I've had my name hollered, a hand came up underneath my left arm. I said, little son of a bitch tried to get me. That was the time that I decided you don't sleep inside that building.
Did you see that?
The cowcur, it's big, it's white, and it runs faster than any man could ever run. And it would lean out behind the tree. And that's why we never go out, because the booger will get you.
Welcome to another episode of the Exploring Unknown. I'm Luke.
I'm Dustin.
We are the hosts with the most guests. Today we have John Sasko Jr. on, which this is a second part of the 2-part episode. You ready to hop into this so they can finally listen to the last part?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
The military claims there's no bases up on that mountain. I think we found one, and I'll tell you about it right now. When we left there, we packed up. We decided to go back down the different way than we came up Summit Mountain. We went the back way back. So we went down that direction there, okay? The next day, we were determined to go up to the military base up there in Uniontown and try to get in to talk to the lieutenant colonel in charge of the base. We were granted an audience, by the way. We went in, and we met this guy who's a lieutenant colonel, and he's in charge of the base, I guess. And so everything was jovial and fun-loving and everything else and stuff. He thought it was kind of funny. We're paranormal investigators, blah, blah, blah. We're talking UFOs and this and that. So I looked at him. I says, Colonel, I says, so where do you keep your black helicopters at? His whole demeanor changed. He looked at me. He looked at Devin. He said, there was a sergeant there, an Air Force sergeant standing by the door on the inside of the room. He says, escort these 2 gentlemen off the base. You guys have heard about the Night Stalkers, right?
Mm-mm.
I think so.
The Night Stalkers are allegedly a group that's through some government agency or military agency that's supposed to take and either accompany UFOs or find down alien craft of some type. Okay, they go out in all kinds of weather, all kinds of conditions. Okay. Anyhow, so we go back home. The next few days, for some reason, we had. You guys remember? You ever hear something about party lines on phones?
Yeah, I think so.
Back in the day, before the advent of cell phones, you could hear other people talking on the line and such. Okay, I had a wall phone in my house and a rotary phone and all that stuff. I'm old, yes. Okay, it seemed like someone was listening to our phone calls. Our mail, both of our mail was. He lived in West Mifflin. I lived up in California area. It seemed our mail was being taken and we never get our mail. So we devised a code to talk to one another, okay? We would get on the phone. Anyhow, now summer's here. So my wife takes our one youngest child out to visit her mother and them out in Granville Hollow. I stayed home with my son, John. Broad daylight in the summertime, it's around June, about June 15th. And my house starts shaking. I'm in doing dishes in the kitchen, so I tell John, go outside, see what that noise is. So he comes running back in. He says, Daddy, there's a helicopter over our house. I went, what? So I'm looking around for a camera, can't find a damn camera. I run outside, and there's a black helicopter hovering over the tree in the back of my yard with a guy sitting on the side with a camera pointing to my house. Why?
That's weird.
Why? What's going on here? Later that week, my wife saw the same thing, and so the rest of the mayor of our town saw the same thing in the evening, hovering over my house. Why? Okay. Now I want to say something else. Devin was Devin was an expert in radiation. He worked for FETUS, the division of Westinghouse. He designed and built reactors for atomic subs. He has a security clearance. Okay. The next day after that UFO I saw on the ground lifted up, we went up there with radiation on and 2 Geiger counters. and the badges we wear for radiation detectors. I found a circle up there on the ground. I used a soul, but okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. As we started to walk into the circle, the Geiger counter's buried into the red, 150 times higher than background radiation, lethal.
Oh, wow.
Our badges turned red instantly. Now we're in full gear. At that time, I was a site supervisor for an environmental company. I also dealt with radioactives, polychlorinated biphenyls, petrochemicals, you name it, I dealt with it, okay? I was in charge of 128 people. Anyhow, we backed out and we left one Geiger counter sitting in that circle. And we watched over a period of a couple hours where actually the Geiger counter started coming down like this until it was normal. When I went into that circle, I used that soil compaction device and it indicated a weight of over 30 tons. Whatever was on the ground was of over 30 tons. But here's the other kick. When I measured that circle was exactly 50 feet in diameter. You guys find that strange?
Yeah.
Why? Tell me why.
Go ahead, Duster.
I'm sorry, you're cutting out. Can you say that again?
Why would a landed UFO have a diameter of exactly 50 feet in diameter? Exactly 50 feet in diameter.
I'm not sure, honestly.
Okay. As you know, we go by a foot is 12 inches and so on and so forth, right?
Right.
Why would an alien craft be exactly 50 feet in diameter? Why not 51? Why not 49? I found that a little strange myself. Moving along ahead, so that same case, I went back and I told Stan Gordon about this, and a bunch of people in our group wanted to get together and go down here and set up a stakeout on that ridge. Now there's a church up here called the Old West Church. The Old West Church is the only church I've ever seen of its kind. And it's illegal. It's not legal to do what we just did. Well, I'm going to tell you what we did, but we did it anyhow because it's got a great vantage point. So 13 of us go up there. Police officers, everybody in the group was a professional, by the way, in some regiment. We had a reporter there from Channel 2 as well. Okay, used to run, was on Evening Magazine years ago. Anyhow, so we decided we were going to split up. So 11 of them stayed there. Me and Evelyn got in my Jeep and we went the length of the ridge. Now, I have really powerful walkie-talkies, which I still have right now, by the way. Really, they're actually handheld 40-channel CBs. They're like giant walkie-talkies. Anyhow, so we drive along the ridge down, away from where they are. And as we're coming back, I didn't see it at first. Evelyn did. She saw the same type of UFO hovering over an abandoned barn. So I radioed ahead that it's coming your direction. Well, we had an electromagnetic field detector set up there to determine any kind of variation in the Earth's magnetic field, because we believe that we're on gravitational waves, magnetism. Anyhow, as we're coming back, it had disappeared. But here's the strange thing. Now, I said this ridge is really weird. They had an unsolved murder there of a boy who was 15 or 16, got raped and put in a burn barrel and burned alive. Never was solved.
Oh, wow.
You had Bigfoot sightings up there, UFO sightings up there, you name it. It's 4.5 mile long ridge. You guys ought to take a ride here. You're from Washington County. I'll even meet you up there. I'll show you the area if you want. But the thing is this. So while we were at this cemetery, now this is a whole nother ballgame. They had cameras set up and tape recorders and everything else. And there's one grave in the back of the cemetery. It's an unhallowed ground. And there's a bench there made out of a big log with 2 smaller logs it sat on. So the one police officer from Benicia says to, or North Purcell says to me, John, why is that grave in that part of the ground in the cemetery? I said, well, it's an unhallowed ground because that boy committed suicide by hanging. Keep in mind, we had cameras running at the time. That log weighed 150 pounds. The police officer should have never said this. He says, I wonder if his feet's touching the ground wherever he's at. When he did, that log lifted up, came toward him, and dropped at his feet.
Oh, wow.
10 feet.
Holy crap.
Got it on film. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. There's all kind of stuff goes on up there. Anyhow, I want to say this about I know I'm going back and forth on all kind of subjects and stuff because I don't know how much time you guys have allotted for me to do this. I could talk for days, as you probably well know. Bill Rigby will tell you that. I can. I mean, I could talk forever. I got some more speaking engagements to go to, another podcast to do on the 18th for Gwendolyn Purcell. Anyhow, yeah, she's over in England right now.
Wow.
But yeah, so what I want, I want to say something. People ask me now. I also went on a Mothman investigation with my wife 2 years ago. I actually met John Keel at the LaGuardia Airport in New York many years ago before he passed away. And what people don't know that watched the movie The Mothman Prophecies was that UFOs were also seen around the bunker areas up there, the TNT area, okay? So John Keel told me that there are a lot of UFO sightings, and he believed this was not a supernatural creature, but it was also indeed a extraterrestrial creature that was brought here, okay? So I went on an investigation down there over, I guess it was 35 years or so ago. I didn't see anything, but it's a pretty strange place because it's a preserve. It's called the McClintock Preserve. Now, there should be a lot of animals in there, right? Deer, frogs, herons, whatever. Mm-hmm. I didn't see not one. Death is like still as death. So my wife and I, was my second one, she's a great lady. She went down with me 2 years ago, and we stayed down here for 3 days. She wouldn't get out of the car when we drove the preserve. I did. And I carried my stun gun, which I always do, and my big, powerful flashlight. I have a real powerful rechargeable one, and my handheld 40-channel CB. I went in every bunker there. They're like a big dome. I don't know if you guys ever saw it, but they're all like domes. Everyone was, when I went in all these other, 8 of them, everything was fine. I go into the last one. The minute I stepped in the doorway, my light quit working, my CB stopped working, nothing worked. And I had an eerie feeling, but I didn't see anything. I felt a presence, just don't know what it was. Anyhow, so I walked around the perimeter and the inside of it. It's probably 40 feet diameter, maybe 20, 25 feet tall. I walked outside and there's a pond there. Well, I can't call it a pond. It's like a small lake, but it's covered with green slime. No frogs. I didn't see not one bird, nothing. Okay. We interviewed a bunch of Point Pleasant residents down at the aquatorium next to the river where the Silver Bridge had collapsed. And about half of them believe there is something up there in McClintock Preserve. The other half aren't sure, but not one person said they don't believe it exists. But of the half, we probably talked about 100 people, I'd say, altogether. So it was about 50-50 each way, but no one said it didn't exist. They just didn't know the other people didn't know what it was. So I've been on a number of cases. It's my belief that a lot of these sightings of unusual creatures like the lizard man or the frog man or mothman, the Jersey devil, things of this nature could be extraterrestrial or interdimensional in nature. I just don't know. I don't have enough information to do that. I said, I just purchased a bunch of equipment, maybe it will help me out, but there are other people that's been in this field, none that I know of longer than me at this point. Some of the people were in longer than me are now long dead. But like I said, I wanted to put together an expedition to Mount Davis because there's been a lot of activity up there. Hikers have reported Bigfoot. Trying to get together 9 other investigators who are experienced to go with me at some point, either at the end of the summer or sometime in early fall, to stay up there for about a week and do a thorough investigation and canvass a lot wider area with full equipment. I have a problem, gentlemen, there's a lot of groups right now that go out and all they're concerned about is just camp out, sit around. They walk in the woods during the daytime. They'll come back to the campfire at night, sit and talk bullshit stories. Okay, that's all well and good if that's all you want to do. But look, if you're going to be a paranormal investigator, you're going to put boots on the ground, get out there and do what you need to do. Now, you guys know Dan Benoit, right? Mm-hmm. Dan's a good friend of mine. Well, Dan had called me up and said there was a sighting of a Bigfoot supposedly around the Mingo Creek Park area. You guys know where Mingo Creek is, right? Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
Outside of Monongahela, right. Mm-hmm. So me and his then fiance, Julie McQuaid, went down here looking. Now, it's a Bigfoot thing. Now, I don't want to mention the guy's name that owns the property because he doesn't want to be put out there because he doesn't want the negative connotation that goes with it. Anyhow, so I met with him by myself the first time. and he showed me the property, and I found one track, 16 inches long by about 10 inches wide, just one, which is kind of strange. So then later on, Dan and Julie came down, and the three of us, we had a stakeout. We wanted to camp out. The guy was like a little leery about, he had 40 acres and over 300 more acres than other people on. He didn't want the notoriety, and want the neighbors to know what's going on. So we go up there, and they go, I told those two to go together about 300 feet away, and I'd sit by myself at the top of the hill. So while we're sitting there, I don't move. I was wearing all camo. I found a tree. I sat on the ground with my back against the tree. And when I do these kinds of things, I can sit for hours. I'm like a rock. I don't move. You won't even know I'm there. Anyhow, so I could hear them talking 300 feet away. And I later kind of chewed them out about it. I said, look, if I can hear you talking and Bigfoot's here, you darn right he knows he can hear you. All right. Yeah, so they wanted to come back up and stay with me on the very top of that hill. So we get to the top of the hill. They come up. They had a hard time finding me because, like I said, they couldn't see me. And when they did come up, we're there about 10 minutes or so. And guess what we saw? We didn't see a Bigfoot. We saw 2 UFOs. 2. Dan, Julie, and I clearly saw 2 of them. So I took my powerful spotlight and I shined it over like this at them. They're about 300 yards away. And Julie says, John, you're gonna have them come over here. I says, isn't that the point? So sure enough, they were actually doing this. They were circling each other like this. Now, where they were, there's no houses, there's nothing. It's just all woods. Mm-hmm. So there's no reason for anybody to be over. Not helicopters. They were just a single light, okay? And they're just doing this around each other. So when I shined the light on it, one broke and the other one stopped, and the other one started coming toward our direction. But as it did, it kind of veered off to the right, and we could see it, and it went over maybe 400 or 500 yards, and it turned red as it was landing. It looked like it landed. And it was on the ground a couple minutes, and then it lifted back up into the air, turned white again, went over and rejoined his companion for another 5 minutes or so. Dan had it on his phone. I think he lost it though on his, well, he had a camera. I think he lost, right, I know. But Dan's a real credible guy, and I believe everybody knows me as I am. And Julie was there too, so there's 3 good witnesses there. When they got back together, they were there maybe 5 minutes or so, and then they split up, and one went to the left and one went to the right. So what started out as a Bigfoot investigation ended up being a UFO investigation, and that was my 10th sighting, okay? I want to tell you this too. I respect Whitley Strieber immensely. You know who he is. He wrote the book Union. He believes that the gray aliens are beneficial and benevolent. I disagree. Respectfully, okay? I want to tell you something now. And again, you can believe me or not, twice in my life I've been under hypnotic regression. Once by a person who was a hypno-regressionist, and what I told her in front of Stan Gordon and others, after they got me under, scared the crap out of her. She never wanted to do it again. Then I went back up, and this time they got a guy named William Duffy, who was an ex-police officer from Pittsburgh, PA. He was a hypno-regressionist, but what he did, he enhanced witnesses and victims' memories. It took my wife and my sister-in-law went up with me to McMurray, PA, where he resided. They put me in. It took them about an hour to get me in there. I have a very strong will. When he did, and I told him what happened to me under hypnosis, he told Stan and reported back to the group, I'm the real deal. On my body, I have 2 scoop marks. You know what scoop marks are, guys?
No.
Okay. Scoop marks are from people that were allegedly abducted by gray aliens. I got the first one when I was 5 years old with my right ankle. The second one's on my right wrist when I was 39. What I told him under hypnosis scared him too. They're not here to be beneficial to us whatsoever. They're here for their own agenda. We're simply a means to an end for what their agenda is. I also respect Neil deGrasse Neil deGrasse. Anyhow, but he says the distances are so vast in space, it would take them thousands, if not millions of years to go from the nearest star to here. They've already made the trip, gentlemen. They've already made the trip, and they've been here. Mm-hmm. And they're not.
I believe it.
How long have they been here? Well, through research, It depends on what research you look at and what you believe. You've heard of the Anunnaki, okay?
Yeah.
They had 9, I believe it was 9 rulers that were Anunnaki, came from the stars over a period of 700 or 800,000 years. These creatures lived a long time. They were gigantic. They were gigantic in stature. But other people and other that have researched this as well claim that these beings have been here for approximately 250 million years. They were an experiment. 3 main groups: the reptilians, which were here first, the Greys, and the Nordiques, which look more humanoid. The Nordiques and the reptilians don't like each other at all. Now, if you know anything about Hindu religion or their past, they talk about battles in the air. They call these craft Vimanas, okay? Vimanas, Vimanas. And they said they were battle. These different races would battle with one each other. I don't want to get too much in this because I know you guys, I don't want to bore you guys with all this nonsense.
No, you're good. This is very interesting.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You've heard of the Great Flood. The Great Flood wasn't just in Christian religion. The Sumerians talked about it. The Egyptians talked about it. Okay, many races across the planet talked about this Great Flood. Okay, Enlil and Enki and the Sumerian people talked about. These were 2 brothers that one liked mankind and one did not. Supposedly, they made mankind to serve them. In what way were they supposedly going to, what human beings going to serve them? They wanted gold. Gold is a great conducer of electricity. Okay, so they supposedly made man. I want you guys to Google this. You'll see what I'm talking about. There's something called Adama, Adama, that was made by the Sumerians or the Anunnaki. Does that sound familiar? How about Adam and Eve? Okay. Just so you know, Adam and Eve were not the first people on the planet. There were others here. How do you think there was descendants of Adam and Eve? Eve didn't mess with her own sons. She only had one. Okay, it was Cain and Abel. Cain killed Abel, and then Cain took off. There were other people on the planet. Okay, but when they were seen as being bad, and when the supposed aliens came down, they called them fallen angels, and they mated with human beings. Their God, and I'm not trying to offend anybody's religion, but I'm just talking scientific stuff here. Okay, God, which was misinterpreted as an alien, okay, didn't like it, didn't want that interbreeding going on, so he brought the Great Flood. There were giants in the earth in those days, fellas. They said Nephilim. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure you have. Anyhow, our history only goes back to maybe 7,000 to 8,000 years. Our written history. What about prehistory? Okay, we now believe, and Egyptologists now believe, that the Great Pyramids were built 10,000 years a lot further back than it was. The Great Pyramid of Khufu, for instance, was much older than what people think. Also, the Sphinx, much older. It wasn't built by the Egyptians, but by an earlier race. Who built them? The largest, there's pyramids all over the earth. The biggest pyramid that covers the greatest ground is in Mexico. It's not the tallest, but it covers the most ground. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, just so you know, too, there was a case. I believe it was in Canada. Now, the Inuit people lived. You've heard of the Inuit. They're Eskimos. They lived in Canada. Every month, what would happen was that. Hello.
Yeah, we're still here.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. Anyhow, so the Northwest Mounted Police would go up there and check on the villagers every once in a while, every month or so. One of them came into the village. Nobody was there. Their dogs were gone. Their weapons were all there. Their food was on the table. The entire village was gone. Not only that, but the really scary part was all their graves were open and empty. Where'd they go?
That's odd.
Looks
What
weird.
happened to these people? What happened to the Mayans? No one knows. The Olmecs. What happened to the Olmecs? Okay. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on, guys. I mean, again, get some duct tape next time you want me on. But like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. So, and like I said, I don't want to be known simply as a Bigfoot investigator because that's not what I am. I'm everything investigator.
Yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. And a lot of this stuff I believe is interrelated. I mean, not as far as ghosts and such. By the way, I saw a demon one time, and that scared the crap out of me.
Okay? I bet.
What did it look like?
What did it look like? Huh. Can you envision a giant wolf's head?
Yeah.
Okay, giant black wolf's head with red eyes and a black mass surrounding it on the edges. No form other than that. Okay. I tried to wake up one night. You know, there's a sleep. You've heard of sleep paralysis?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't suffer from sleep paralysis. Okay. I was at my mom's house, and she was still alive at the time, and my dad had passed away. And they had told me about stuff going on in our house. Now, when I was a kid, I used to play with Ouija boards. Bad move. Gateway to hell, or whatever you want to call it. At that time, I asked the Ouija board how many ghosts were in the house. You know, I'm a kid. I'm 14 years old. And it said 7. That was how many people were in my family, 7. Okay. Anyhow, move ahead. So I moved away. I lived in Pittsburgh for a time, in East Liberty. So when I came home, my mom and dad was telling me one night, it was summertime, that there's all kind of strange stuff going on in the house. I went, what do you mean? They said the ceiling starts bouncing in the middle room upstairs. I said, yeah, okay, sure. So I had a glass of water sitting here on my left on a stand, and there was a stand on the other side of me. And I said, that's nonsense. When I said that glass of water did this and lifted over like this real slow and sat down on this side of me. Well, that kind of convinced me something was going on. So I'm looking, I hear the ceiling starts bouncing. So I'm not afraid. I ran up the steps and I challenged whatever was in the room. Now that room was summertime. That room was ice cold, especially in one corner. I wasn't too much in the occult at that time, okay, looking into that kind of stuff. I was more in the UFO field, that kind of stuff. But anyhow, it all kind of merged together, I guess. But anyhow, so my dad passed away, and we went through his funeral and everything, came back to the house and everything else. And I'm laying there one night, and, well, let's put it this way. I worked in Pittsburgh, too. I worked in Mount Lebanon at that point. So we just had a new baby, my wife and I. And Heather was only 4 pounds 9 ounces. We had to bring her home. She was a preemie. We had to bring her home when she was 5 pounds 11 ounces. We kept her downstairs because what I did one morning, I came in from work and my wife was upstairs in the middle room sleeping. She had wrapped our baby in like a swaddling cloth, like a sleeping bag, in that room, and our bed's pretty high. And if that baby would have fallen, would have broken every bone in her body. So I hear the baby crying. I can't find Heather. So I said, where's Heather at? I told my wife, I woke her up. She said, I don't know. We found her up in the bed, underneath the bed, in the corner where it's real cold. Even in the summertime, it was ice cold. So after we didn't sleep upstairs. I was determined to get a priest or somebody to come down. Anyhow, I'm downstairs. It's about a week later. We're sleeping downstairs on a roll-out bed. And I felt this pressing on my chest really hard. And I'm thinking it's my wife's hand pressing on me. So I'm trying to open my eyes, and I'm wide awake at this point because I had to take care of my mom. She was pretty sick, and she was downstairs as well. I couldn't open my eyes, so I'm trying to open my eyes, and I finally managed to open them up a little bit. And when I did, I looked, and I saw this mass above me with this head, huge head, maybe 3 feet across, looking down at me. And I'm trying to scream. My wife's laying right next to me. I'm trying to scream, and I couldn't scream. And finally, I managed to go, ah! And when I did, it laughed at me and disappeared.
Holy crap.
I went and got a priest the next day, come to the house and bless that house, which he did. It scared him too because all kinds of stuff were going on. We had dishes rattling and everything else. But I kind of calmed down. Then I went and got a friend of mine who's a psychic. I know you guys may not believe in psychics. You know, some are real, I think. Most are not. She came down to the house, and I never told her what room or nothing about it. I says, tell me what you feel when you go through the house. She went from room to room to room. When she got to that middle room upstairs, she said, it's up here. It doesn't like children. It doesn't want anybody in the house. That corner of my daughter was my one and only occurrence with what I believe a demon. Ghost I've seen plenty of. Orbs, I've seen orbs. Okay. If you guys want to do a little experiment for yourselves next time, take a tape recorder or your phone and put it on record. Go to a cemetery, just ask some questions. Just ask some questions. Anybody here? That kind of stuff. Anybody want to say anything?
Yeah.
And turn your recorder. Go back home and play it back. See what happens.
Yeah.
There's a guy in France that goes to all the cemeteries and he does this kind of stuff and he gets all kinds of feedback from it. So just so you know. But anyhow, so we've touched on everything here tonight. I mean, every time this evening is possible. I mean, are you guys having any questions of me whatsoever? Because I'd be more than happy to answer anything.
I know Dustin probably has some questions. Go ahead, Dustin.
Well, I mean, I had a lot of questions, but he answered them as we kind of went on. Hearing you tell us about all these different encounters and cases of investigations that you went on that is pretty local to us is just mind blowing to me, because I mean, I'm 30 years old. I've been here for my entire life, and not once have I ever heard of Bigfoot being sighted down the road. You know what I mean? Like where was that we went and was checking that out, Luke? I was like West Findlay or something like that.
That's not far from here.
No, there was a. What's that?
No, I didn't say anything. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. We was actually supposed to have a gentleman come on. His name's Kirk.
I think he got disconnected again.
Did I really? Am I here now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, say that again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you are.
So
well, here's the thing, fellas. You know, let me tell you something. You can be on an investigation for years and not see a thing, okay? But the thing is as I look, I see a lot of shows on TV. Like I was watching one yesterday. These people were out looking for ghosts, okay? There was a guy and two girls went out looking for ghosts. And then they got spooked and they ran out of like little girls themselves screaming. Look, if you're going to get in the paranormal field, isn't that what you're there for? To look, to see? If you're that scared, look, okay, if you're going to look for a ghost or a demon or whatever, and you're that scared, you shouldn't be doing it. Stay at home and knit and crochet something, okay? Let somebody else do the leg, okay?
Yeah, I agree.
Look, in Washington, PA, we have the Bronson House, which is haunted. Fayette County, they have the Nemacolin Castle up there. That's haunted, okay? There used to be a place off of Route 40 that California University used to own. It was haunted, okay? That went back to the days of Prohibition. They had a sub-basement in there where they were making illegal hooch, and supposedly people were killed up there and stuff. I think it's still up there, in fact. But look, I didn't see Bigfoot until 1991 the first time. Okay, then it came in bunches. UFOs I started seeing when I was 5. I've seen more of them, okay? But I put myself out there. I don't sit there with my cell phone like so many people with their heads down, or might as well just say put your head in the sand and stick your ass up in the air, okay? I'll just talk real frankly about this, okay? You got to look. You may never see anything, but you're for sure not going to see anything if you don't look, all right?
Absolutely.
And here's the other, when you're out there looking for Bigfoot, and I say this to everybody that I've trained some people, okay? When you go out looking for Bigfoot, let's keep in mind some issues about this creature. It's super strong. We know it's more than twice the size of a mountain. Have you guys ever seen a gorilla in person? I have.
Yeah.
There's 20 times or more stronger than a man. This thing's twice the size of a mountain gorilla. It rip your arms and legs off, okay, easily. Crush your skull with one hand. And anyhow, what I'm saying is this: when you go into the woods, you got to be quiet. You can't take a big camera crew into the woods, and not every noise or tree fall that you see in the woods is made by a Bigfoot. I respect, there's one group in particular, I'm not going to mention its name. You guys know what I'm going to be talking about here in a second. But every time they hear a noise in the wood, the one guy says, it's Bigfoot. No, it's not Bigfoot. It doesn't have to be Bigfoot. It could be a tree falling. You heard of woodpeckers in the woods? Deer will take and rub their velvet off their antlers in the woods too. You ever hear those? Okay.
Yeah.
Not every noise you hear in the woods is a Bigfoot. Not everything you see in the sky is a UFO. Okay, you got to use your common sense with this kind of stuff. You have to do background checks on things. You have to look up and make yourself, by doing research, what you're trying to see and what you're looking to find. Okay, take the proper equipment with you. Make sure you have a good camera with you. Okay, what's nice is, like, I pretty much go by myself now, not all the time, but it's always good to have a witness, a backup. Okay, but when you go into the woods, you got to be quiet, guys. This creature has super hearing, probably sees in different spectrums. We only see in a very narrow spectrum. Okay, so it can hear you better, see you better, smell you better, faster than you, stronger than you. What chance do you have against this creature? So I just asked my buddy Bill Rigby one day. I said to Bill, he's sick now. He's not doing too well. Bill Ferris, shout out to you, Bill. Anyhow, I said to Bill, let me ask you a question. Let's say we went on an expedition and we saw a Bigfoot. How can we prove we saw something? Because everybody says they see him. A lot of people say they see him. Short of capturing one, what's your proof? Well, pictures aren't enough evidence. Look at the Gimlin film. No one believes that. A lot of people don't believe it's real. It's real, in my opinion. Dr. Meldrum, who I respect, he's got plaster cast of footprints. Doesn't mean it exists. No, those people don't want to believe. The established scientific community does not want to believe this stuff. Why? I don't know. Maybe they're afraid to believe. Okay? There's a scientific principles involved. Let's get some DNA. Short of finding a dead Bigfoot, capturing a Bigfoot, you're not going to wrestle him. I'll tell you that. What's our proof? What can we prove to the established scientific community? My goal, and I'll tell you what it is simply, my goal is to prove it exists so the scientific community will accept it, and therefore it can be placed on the endangered species list. There was a place out, I think it was it Idaho or one of those states out west? They had a bounty out for $1 million bounty, dead or alive. Why would you go out and shoot a Bigfoot? Just to prove it exists? Let me ask you guys a question. If you were out hunting together, two of you are out hunting, and you go and you shoot a grizzly bear, but you don't kill it. You wound it though now, so it can't hunt properly like it normally could in its environment. So you guys go home and some other couple goes out there, other people go out there in the woods. There's this wounded grizzly, can't hunt on its own. What happens to them?
They might attack them.
The bear is going to kill them and eat them. It doesn't differentiate. You're a human being.
Yeah.
We've had accounts of people that have actually pointed a loaded rifle at a Bigfoot, but did not shoot and kill it. Why? Because when they looked at it, they believed this thing was intelligent, that it was sentient. It's a being of some type. In my mind, to kill something like that's murder. Okay? I used to hunt. I used to be a really prolific hunter guy. So I killed deer every year. I'd go up to people up where I lived in California area. The farmers used to hire me to go out and shoot deer that was messing with their corn crops. I might kill 20 deer a year or more. I take the meat, the hides and horns down to Fredericktown, and they process it, and I give the meat, some of the meat to that guy, and I take the rest to the senior center and give it to other family members, okay? I quit hunting, not with a gun. I don't hunt with a gun anymore. I hunt with a camera, with my eyes, okay? This is serious business. You can end up dead. My wife says to me all the time, John, you can end up getting killed. Well, I guess so. But like I said, I mean, I have a pretty strong faith in God, and I believe it like this. If I were meant to be dead, I'd already be dead. I've got a history, I know this sounds crazy. You guys are going to get off and say, this guy's nuts. But I'm going to just tell you like it is. I've got a history of being abducted since I was a young boy. I got Rh negative blood. About 3% of the people on this planet have Rh negative blood. Okay. I do heal quickly. Okay. I don't know why. When I belonged to Stan's group, they used to call me the Indiana Jones of Pashute because wherever I go, it seemed like most of the time things happen. Why is that? Well, it's because I look. I put myself out. And if you're going to be a paranormal investigator and a podcaster in this genre, you got to be real. You got to be diligent. You got to do your research. Okay? Because there's a lot of wannabe charlatans out there that run podcasts for nothing more to get money from you, sell merchandise, or make themselves look good. Okay, I'm not in it for that. If that were the case, I could have done that decades ago. I choose not to. Okay. If you want to look up something that was published about me, though, you can. I have a copy of it here. I can send you a copy. Fate Magazine, 1991. Keith Bastiani asked for my permission to publish that case of the two Bigfoot juveniles in Murray, and I said okay. So I have the clipping. I actually have the whole book was in. That was published in '94, but the event happened in 1991. You can also contact Mary Rob Jackson from Channel 2 News if you wish to determine, what we saw up there as well. I've been trying right now. I went down the other day to California University to Mandarino Library to find any kind of paperwork about Bigfoot sightings or the case up on High School Hill. Couldn't find anything. I went into the public library as well. Couldn't find anything there as well. And I also went to Washington Public Library up here to try to find some stuff too. But I did run into a lady who's was a member of the California University Paranormal Society. So they have some information here you guys might want to check out too. But anyhow, come on, guys, ask me some questions. I'm not running out. Ask me something.
What do you think makes the creature, or Bigfoot, I don't want to say creature because we don't know, what do you think makes it so elusive? Like, why do you think only a select... Well, I guess it kind of goes back to what you were saying, is getting out there and putting the boots to the ground. But I don't know. I feel like that was answering my question. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, listen, I'll tell you why it's so elusive. Because it has those skill sets that we're talking about. I mean, look at this. Let me ask you a question. You know what a Siberian tigers and a Bengal tiger are?
Yeah.
Imagine giving the creature near human intelligence. How often would you see it?
Never.
It's probably never.
Why?
Because it knows to stay away.
Is it?
Because it's totally adapted to its own environment. It has the power, the abilities, the extra abilities that we don't have as human beings. Normally, tigers will attack you from behind, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But to give it something like that, human intelligence or near human or more than human intelligence, okay, you would never see it unless it wanted to be seen or by accident. And most cases are by accident. I've seen stories recently. I said I'm an admin in about 5 different groups and the group expert. And again, I don't call them, that's Facebook's designation for people that have experience with this. I'm an explorer of the unknown. Yeah, I have more time in the field than anybody I know, but that's different. Okay, I still look. But the thing is this, that when I saw that big tall one almost face to face, like within 15 feet, I'd say 12 feet is as close as I got to this thing. I was in awe of this thing. I wasn't afraid of it. It could have easily killed me. And I'm not back then I was a pretty powerful guy. I'm not exactly over the hill yet either, even though I'm older. But I didn't feel anything but sadness coming from this creature, okay? It has extra skills that we don't have. What kind of intelligence do I believe it has? If it's not a terrestrial creature, maybe it's got extraterrestrial intelligence, okay? Maybe it's elusive not only because its physicality enables it to be so, but also the areas it hunts in and what it does. It doesn't want any problems. It wants to stay away from human beings, okay, generally, okay? The ones out west, I told you about the Pacific Northwest, they're territorial. They don't want to be around people. They have certain area they go into, and that's where they went. They hunt and they do their thing, okay? The ones over here are more nomadic because of the encroaching civilization we have. On the East Coast, we have a lot of civilization over here. Pittsburgh is the second largest city in this state. Philadelphia is only one larger. We got sightings throughout the whole state, mostly in wooded areas.
Mm-hmm.
Mingo Park isn't that far from me. And by the way, I want to say something about that. I almost forgot. A year and a half ago, I took my great-grandkids and my wife down to Mingo Park itself. I'm a member of the Pittsburgh Astronomy Association. There's an observatory up. It's one of 2 that we have. And they have big, giant telescopes up. It's really neat. You guys ought to check it out. Anyhow, while we were up at this playground on top of Mingo Hill, okay, I was there was another couple there with their 2 children. And I was talking to the guy. It was summertime. I had the windows down in my SUV. And he said, look up there. What is that? And I looked up, and about 200 yards away or so, looked like something about 8 or 9 feet tall standing up there on that hillside, black, big black silhouette, too big for a bear. I killed bear. I know what a bear looks like, okay? Then I know they can stand up and walk for a real short distance. This thing was huge. I ran back to my car to try to get my phone because I left my damn phone in the car. I wanted to take a picture of it, and it was gone that quick. But another couple, that quick. And that's maybe half a mile away from where I found the one track and the 2 UFOs were. What's the connection? I don't know. Like I said, the more answers I think I get, the more questions are raised. I just don't know.
Yeah.
You know, we have so many people in this field now. It's a cash cow. People are, I mean, get me wrong. These vendors go to all these places, and they can find that's self-aware. I got no problem doing that. But don't sit down there and write a book about the definitive Bigfoot or definitive UFO when you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them 10 times. I'm not sure what they are. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've seen Bigfoot. I said, I don't know what they are. I can guess. I can tell you what I don't think they are. I don't think they're Gigantopithecus or a Descendant or a Denisovan or any other natural hominid on this planet. Okay? And we've had sightings all over the world. You have, like I said, you have the Yeren in China. You have the Yeti in China, which are more very feral and very violent. Okay? Not quite as big as the North American Sasquatch/Bigfoot. Okay? The Yeren. Then you have the Yowie in, of all places, Australia. Okay? South America, they talk about hairy creatures living down there in the swampy areas. Okay. Now there's a young kid. Now I gotta give him a little bit of a plug, and I admire this little boy. I think he's 14 years old. His name's Daniel Lee Barnett. He lives in the UK, and my chief admin, Brian King, whose group I'm also in, is an admin and group expert. They're over there now at a conference over there today. Okay. This kid he thinks that there's Bigfoot in England. I kind of disagree with that, only because of the geography of the place. Okay, it's separate from the mainland. I could be wrong. Okay, we know that the Kodiak bear can swim from land to Kodiak Island and back and forth, and bears have done it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so maybe there's something over there. We do know that there's panther-like creatures that live there. They think they're big black panthers. That back in the day, in the 16th, 17th century, the nobles would get animals from all over the world, and they bring them over there, and they let them, be on their property. And sometimes they may let them loose. Okay, but he's a good kid. Maybe you get him on your show, you can talk to him and stuff. But he's pretty knowledgeable, and I'll give him a plug. He's the new generation. When I'm long dead, he's going to be the next guy to take over. Okay.
We'll have to look him up.
And right now, I'm looking for some people to turn over 5,000 case files that I have. People that I trust that will take those files and do the research on them, and maybe help them in their homes to try to find some answers to these things. Because I don't think in my lifetime I'm going to get any answers. The government's not disclosing much of anything. They acknowledged but was San Diego out that way, that there were some UFOs buzzing their ships, and the Tic Tacs, you've heard of the Tic Tacs, and the Navy pilots got them on their FLIR cameras and such stuff, things like that. There's been sightings all over the world. I have a friend in Israel named Polly Rotterman. She's one of my admin in Brian's group, and they've had UFO sightings over Israel during this conflict in Gaza. In Ukraine, they've had UFO sightings. Russia, they've had UFO sightings. China, UFO sightings. Japan, UFO sightings. I'll tell you something you might not know. I believe it was in the 15th century in Japan. Japan at the time was a feudal nation, which means they were very warlike. Okay. Supposedly, a craft came out of the water and landed on their bank. It was like a dome craft. And a woman came out dressed in strange clothes and stuff, okay? And then they helped her out, but she didn't speak a word of Japanese or anything like that, nothing they ever heard. But eventually she got back in her craft and went back out to sea and it submerged, okay? I mean, it goes back in prehistory, okay? Look at the petroglyphs they have on cliffs, okay? People back then, they made rough drawings of things they actually saw. Mm-hmm. the Native Americans out west drew petroglyphs of what looked like modern day graves on their wall. The Dogon people in Africa, they used to wear these headdresses to mimic the large-headed gray aliens. Okay, I mean, listen, I could go on again. I'm not trying to burn you guys out.
No,
you're good.
But like I said, I mean, there's so much going on in this world, you just don't know. Okay?
Yeah.
So if you got any more questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. Come on, please give me some.
Go ahead, Luke. I got one too, but I'll go after.
That whole situation down in Florida and Las Vegas, what do you think that was?
Oh, you're talking about the alleged 9-foot tall creatures that was in Vegas? The guys back. Well, let me put it this way. If I were there, I'd have to do a thorough investigation, not just of the site itself, but I want to see any kind of video footage or photographic evidence they may have. And I have to do some background checks on them and talk to them. And the reason being, I did a case where a guy claimed to be a UFO abductee and UFOs were landing on his property outside of Waynesburg, PA. I went up with my co-investigator, and his wife had already left it. The minute we walked in the house, there was pictures scribbled all over the wall of UFOs and everything else like that. And he offered us some beer. Well, I don't drink when I'm doing investigations at all. Okay, I very seldom drink. When I do, it's 1 or 2 beers pop. Okay. Anyhow, so as we're talking to him, he seemed kind of out there. So I go and I excuse myself. I said, "Can I use your restroom?" "Sure." "Yeah, go ahead." I go in the restroom, and it wasn't quite kosher for what I did, but I opened up his medicine cabinet. He had all kinds of psychotropic drugs in it. So that's what I'm talking about, doing some checking. Okay. There's a guy, and I really don't like to burn anybody's character, but there's a guy that's up in British Columbia, Canada, named Todd Standing. Supposedly 13 or 14 years ago, he hoaxed a Bigfoot picture, then admitted to it. Then he claims now that there's still Bigfoot up. There may well be Bigfoot up there. Okay. Brian and some people went up there, was last year for a few, I guess it was 7 or 8 days. The director of my group, Brian Sharp, who's an ex-police officer, by the way. And they didn't see a Bigfoot. They heard noises in the woods, stuff like that. But I do things different. I go investigate the noises. I do nighttime stakeouts. I have night vision glasses, night vision goggles. I have a bionic big ear. I have all that stuff. Okay. So I would have went out there and checked. Now, as far as knowing that this guy supposedly, allegedly hoaxed something in the past, even though it was 13 years ago, what's his credibility rating with me?
Pretty low.
What would it be with you guys?
It'd be pretty low.
There you go. So he would have to produce more proof, more evidence of credibility to me and validity before I have to take him anywhere seriously. Although some people do. Conversely, there's another guy up there named Thomas Seaward, okay, who's a Bigfoot investigator himself, and he runs a business up there in British Columbia, Canada, and Alaska. I take him very seriously. I believe in him, okay? But we have some people in this field, as I said, guys, you have some really good investigators, but they're few and far between. You got a bunch of wannabe investigators and pseudo investigators who have no idea what the scientific method is. They just go out there and then you have people saying stuff like, "Listen to this story. You might have heard of this. There's a supposed family that says that they have a whole family of Bigfoot living on their property for generations. And the Bigfoot came down to their houses and told them what their names were." Really? Really?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, no. That sounds kind of weird.
Do you remember the old magazine, The Inquirer? They used to put these really outrageous stories in there. My wife had a baby by an alien. All this kind of, that's what that kind of mind reminded me of. And that's the kind of stuff back in the day that prevented people who did actually have actual experiences from coming forward. They don't want to be put in that same category as that. Yeah. But the problem nowadays, investigators like myself and others, is that the established scientific community in general and the public at large, who have never seen anything like this, tend to lump us in the same categories, the nutcases, the hoaxers, and the liars. And that's what hurts this field. I've recommended to a lot of groups already that we network and share data with one another. One group I belong to in Michigan kicked me out of the group because I suggested that, right? And I was good with this guy. I mean, we talked, we were like buddies and this and that. Until I suggested that. You know what he said to me? The reason why was he wants his own group to grow. Fine. I'm in all these other groups. You can join as many groups as you want. Doesn't matter. The only reason I stay in the groups I'm in is because I think they have something to give me, something to share that I can share within that group. And people were serious. You know, you guys are running a podcast for the paranormal phenomena, aren't you? Are you not?
Correct.
Yeah.
You specialize in that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. You're not making millions of dollars off of it, are you?
No.
So the question I ask you is this: why do you do it?
Curiosity.
There you go. There you go, guys. You do it for the love and for the knowledge of it, correct?
Yeah.
I saw you guys up there at Dan Benoit's event up there in May. Okay.
Yeah.
We weren't up there making tons of money.
No.
I didn't get paid. My wife and we didn't get paid a dime for that. I've never got paid a dime for anything I've done. Not a penny. Okay. I've been asked to write books. Okay. I don't have time for it. I'm too busy with my personal life and my family and my health and things of this nature. But my wife and I go for those rides up there on that ridge I tell you about quite often. We might go tonight, right, hon? She's here now. She just came in. But anyhow, listen, I'm going to let you guys go, unless you have more questions for me and stuff. But
I do have one more question.
Sure.
Because we've touched on a lot of different topics here, and I just getting a feel for the conversation. I wanted to make sure that this one wasn't too far out there. But what's your opinion on Dogman and people having sightings of that?
I knew that was going to come. Okay. Okay, let me ask you this. So we're basically talking about a shapeshifter, supposedly. There was a case in 17th century France of a wolf-like creature supposedly was killing women and children. That supposedly was shot. I can't remember exactly the name of the town, but it was in France, rather. Okay, it's the same thing I say about vampires. Okay, every legend has a basis in fact. The vampire legend, for instance, came not from Transylvania or Vlad the Impaler. It came from an island where a bunch of women supposedly they drink blood, okay, in the Mediterranean, okay? The legend of Vlad Tepes, Vlad the Impaler, son of Dracula is what it was, the son of the dragon. He killed a lot of people, but he didn't drink blood, but he was pretty vicious. You know the story about how he impaled people's heads on poles and stuff and impaled them with his body.
Yep.
There's always a basis in fact in every legend. As to Dogman, I've seen some pictures recently on Facebook, and I have to shake my head. I don't know. Do I want to believe there's a chance that somebody can take and transform a skinwalker or a shapeshifter? Native Americans say it can be. Their legends and their folklore says it happens. Okay, I just don't know. My own opinion is maybe it's a mutated Bigfoot. I don't know. I just read of a case I believe it was in Russia, where they found a woman who was 6'6" tall, very muscular. I just told my wife about it yesterday. And she was a wild woman, completely covered in hair, always running around naked. And they captured her and she became the servant. This is a factual story. Anything's possible. If I were investigating I've never been on a Dogman case. I've never heard of a Dogman case around here. Bigfoot, yes. Hundreds of cases with that. If I were going on a Dogman case, I'd want to know a lot more information than I have right now. Do I believe it's a possibility? Why not? Chupacabra? Sure. Yeah, I believe in that. We have unknown creatures all the time. For instance, you guys, ever hear the term coelacanth?
No.
Okay, let me tell you about the coelacanth. The coelacanth was a creature of fish, an armored fish that lived about 65 million years ago, okay? Supposedly it's extinct. Since then, they found at least 7 of them alive swimming around in the ocean. 65 million over prehistoric armored fish. Okay. Now, here's the other thing. If I were to say to you, if you guys didn't have access to encyclopedias, the internet, or Google, or anything like that, we're just average Joes. And I said to you guys, I said, look, Dustin and Luke, what if I told you there's a creature that's got the tail of a beaver, has hair all over its body, it's got claws with poison tips, the bill of a duck, and it lays eggs? What would you say to me?
You're crazy. But there's such thing. Platypus.
It's a platypus. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Supposedly they said there's another Tasmanian tiger running around loose in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and then they also, you've heard this, I just talked to you a little bit ago about the short-faced bear. The short-faced bear is supposed to be extinct. It was the largest bear that ever existed, 15 to 18 feet tall. A huge bear, man-eater. Right. And supposedly in the remote areas of Siberia, it exists still to this day. You have polar bears moving down from the north to lower regions of the continent and mating with grizzly bears. They call them pizzly. Okay? They're a hybrid species. Anything's possible. As far as dogmen, I can't say one way or the other. There have been enough credible people say they've seen these things like the Beast of Bray Road. You've heard of that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a pretty good sighting. Pretty credible sighting. I'd love to go there and check that out myself. Then we have the Ohio Grassman, too.
Mm-hmm.
That's at Salt State Park. Okay, you've heard of that.
Yep.
I just watched a special the other day. Okay, probably want to get out there sometime soon. Okay. I love to go on a dogman case. If I find a local dogman case, I'll go on and I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny it's about werewolf-like creature, but maybe it's not the classic werewolf like we're used to seeing in the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something else other different. Could be a hybrid species. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I can tell you that human DNA and wolf DNA will not coexist together. It's too different.
Right.
And the Russians had tried years ago, when I believe it was Stalin's office, Joseph Stalin, they tried to mate humans, female with apes. Okay. It failed, supposedly. I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you ever end up on
Huh?
I was gonna say, if you ever end up on a dogman case, we'd love to hear from you again to find out what that result was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, you guys aren't too far. Where are you guys located from, basically? I know you're in Washington County. Whereabouts?
Claysville.
Well, yeah, Claysville.
Oh, Clay, that's just 8 miles from here or so, 10 miles.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are ever interested in taking a ride up on that ridge, and I'll show you where that UFO is on the ground, and I'll take you where that 10-foot tall Bigfoot was, and I'll meet you sometime soon. You just let me know. I can't do it next week because that's when I'm going in the hospital. But maybe the week after. If you're interested, give me a holler. I'll meet you up here in Washington. We'll take a ride down here, and I'll show you.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right?
Yeah.
Now, Chestnut Ridge, isn't that where...
All right, well, listen, I'm going to let you guys go now.
I was going to say, Eric Altman, didn't he just cast some prints over there in Chestnut Ridge?
Yeah,
he
did.
So.
And I'll tell you something else. Douglas Lockhart, who runs another group I'm in as an admin, he was telling me they had Bigfoot sightings up there by Laurel Caverns, down the road from Laurel Caverns. You know where that's at, on Summit Mountain.
Yeah.
That's all part of Chestnut Ridge. So I'm trying to organize a camp out, stake out investigation up there. But I can't do anything until I get this knee taken care of. I can get around. I just can't. Like I was telling my wife, if we ever run to a bear in the woods, you don't have to worry about it because I cannot run a bear. She can get away. They'll eat me. Anyhow, so, listen, I'm going to let you guys go, okay?
All right. Sounds good, John.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
No problem, guys. Hope I didn't bore you.
No. This was very interesting. This is great. Again, thank you so much.
Welcome. Take care, guys.
You too.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Exploring the Unknown. I don't know where to go from here because usually Luke does this part.
Bring up the podcast mentions unless you want me to do that since I got them all written down.
Yeah, I kind of don't have everything in front of me. Wait, I want to try. Hold on. Let me try. You know what?
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. What do we usually start with? My God, it's been so long.
I usually start with a website.
The website. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody. Don't forget to go and check out our website, exploringtheunknownpod.com, where you can actually submit an encounter. There's a contact page there where you can submit an encounter and for a chance to come on a future episode and tell us here on the show.
Affiliate links.
There we go. Down in the description below, you will find a link where you can go and purchase some ghost hunting gear. And anything that you purchase through that link will support the podcast and help us keep putting out this great content like we do. September 6th and 7th, we have the PA Bigfoot camping adventure. Luke and I is going to be there, set up, doing podcasts and scheduling podcasts for the future. So if you guys want to come on down, and I think they do still have tickets. I seen on the Facebook page, they posted like 3 days ago. There'll be tickets on sale at the door, cash only. Yeah.
If you're gonna feel comfortable purchase anything through the affiliate link, we also have a Cash App and PayPal you can donate us directly. And in the text box below, type a would you rather question, and we will explore that on a future episode. Don't forget to go check out our YouTube channel. More subscribers, the better. We're almost at 500 subscribers, I believe.
Yes, something like that.
4.
I think it's like 400.
4 or 500. We're only like 5 away from 4 or 500. So go subscribe to our YouTube, share it, and hit the bell button for notifications every time we post an episode.
Right. I was looking to see if I could get a would you rather.
Well, you're looking for a would you rather question. I've been watching that Destination Fear, and they were at that place where we were last week at Green County Historical Museum.
Really?
They got so much activity when they were there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we didn't really get to talk about that on the show. I know that during part 1 I had mentioned that we were going to be posting the video soon, but we didn't really get a chance to kind of elaborate on any of the experiences that we had had.
Yeah, it was definitely a good time. I'd like to get back there again in the future.
Yeah, I think I would like to make that like a normal spot. Like, I don't know, good people. It's a nice place. It's really big. And I think like our theory is that they have to get used to us. And
yeah. I agree. We talked about going to that old hospital on the hill in West Virginia. They were there as well. That place looks crazy. We definitely need to try to go there.
Yeah. Well, we'll have another video coming out too that I didn't mention. It's kind of like a little surprise too. Is that Lake Shawnee video?
I'm curious to see that because I wasn't there for that, so I'm curious to see what you're all getting, what the videos are going to be like.
I am too, honestly, because I spent the night just feet from where the little girl died on the swings and just feet from the Ferris wheel. And I thought that like secluding myself would maybe stir up some more activity, or maybe because I'm vulnerable, there would be more activity, but I don't think that there was. I felt like, I think I told you, I felt like people were watching us from a distance, like they were just keeping an eye on us to see what we were doing. But I don't really recall having anything crazy happen, except maybe the one where we thought we had heard some chanting, which was interesting, or something of the sort. But other than that, I mean, it was a good experience. I had fun. I would be interested to go back and see because I did go through some of the audio, and I was really tired when I did. So I don't know that there was anything in the audio that I had taken, or the video for that matter. I haven't even gone through the video, and there was times where I wasn't really paying attention to what I was filming. I was just like first person view type filming, you know what I mean? So there could be things that I caught on video that I'm not even aware of.
Yeah, I need to get through my video from the Greene County Historical Museum and go through that and see if there's anything that was caught on there that I wasn't expecting.
I don't know if we were recording or anything at this time, and I don't think that we were. Maybe audio. We might have had audio going, but whenever that crash bang happened, when we was up on the second floor.
I went through some of my audio and I haven't heard it yet. Was that after we were down in the dungeon, or was that before the dungeon?
That was after the dungeon, because that was whenever I was like, let's just sit in the hallway with our lights off and just be like chill.
I don't think I got that far yet.
Okay. Hopefully there's something. God, I hope there's at least something. It's like, it sucks because it's like whenever things happen, you're not ready for it.
That's usually how it goes. Like, we weren't even recording that ball when it started moving.
I know, but we did capture a little bit of it, like the tail end of it, which is still pretty cool. All right, so I don't really have a very good would you rather. I didn't give GPT a whole lot of information.
It's not a good one, but I'll fill one out. We were talking about haunted locations. Would you rather go to the most haunted hospital, or would you rather go to the most haunted jail?
Hospital or jail? What kind of hospital are we talking about? Are we talking about like a regular, like just a hospital, like emergency type hospital, or are we talking like asylum?
Like asylum, like Trans-Allegheny.
Oh man, that's a good question.
Trans-Allegheny or Moundsville Penitentiary?
I don't know, because I haven't seen a whole lot of Trans-Allegheny. I've been in Moundsville. Moundsville's big.
I've never been inside Moundsville, but I've been outside of it, and I would love to investigate that place.
Yeah, I kind of did a group investigation with Renee, and that's whenever she left me on that operating table, or that x-ray table, without a flashlight. She just left me there.
Oh, make you feel vulnerable.
Oh my god, dude. It took me a minute to get on the table, because like I had to squeeze in between the camera and the table. I'm a big guy, you know, so getting on is gonna take just as much time getting off. And she's just like, "Hun, I think the group's leaving us," and she just turned and walked out of the room, and it just went pitch black.
Good job in there.
I think that I would have to go with the asylum. Yeah.
I would have to say Moundsville, just because I've been to Trans-Allegheny before, and I've never been to Moundsville, so I'll have to get Moundsville.
Yeah. I would like to try to plan a Moundsville trip.
I would like to get a bunch of people, maybe not even a whole bunch of people, but people to go.
Yeah.
Where it won't be so much money.
Right. I mean, I would like to have enough people that the price of the ticket would be affordable, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But I think that's all I have for this.
That's all I have for this too.
All right. Till next time.
See ya.